finally for you, Chops, before you go.
Yes.
I did a look today at the shared struggle between post-colonial fragmentation and dependence, and it took me to Singapore. Singapore, under Lee Kuan Yew, they gained independence in 1965. We got it in 1962. And when you look at the Singaporeans, deep ethnic divisions, higher unemployment, limited natural resources, coming out of colonialism. But Singapore, Chops, though they do not operate the type of democracy we operate, is among the leading countries in the world in terms of their GDP. They got it right. We have not. What has gone wrong with Jamaica? Why have we not gotten it right? And so tonight we can have independence where a member of parliament is parading people before a camera in a shelter in Jamaica, begging for help. They don't live nowhere. What has failed Jamaicans?
Jamaica has failed, neighbor. Our failure started in 1972 when we made that error in judgment by electing Michael Joshua Manley. Our failure started there, right there. I laid squarely at the feet of Michael Joshua Manley, who transformed a growing economy, which was growing at 18.01%. Yeah? 18.01%. With coming out of an industrial revolution, when Jamaica discovered what we could now consider to be oil. Yeah? And instead of negotiating with those persons who were mining our backside, taking it out to Europe and to North America, instead of negotiating with them and asking them to bring their smelter plants here and set up shop here and do the actual manufacturing and final products here in Jamaica so that our people can lift themselves out of poverty, he did the opposite. Stamp on what is now known as a backside levy and divert funds into projects that would benefit just a few. We lost our economy. We choose to follow a political ideology. We implemented what was called democratic socialism. We followed Fidel Castro to the mountaintop. We never choose Jamaica. We never make decisions in the 1970s that was beneficial to Jamaica. We choose to follow an ideology to suit and benefit Michael Manley, who was merely not just Prime Minister for Jamaica, but who spent most of his political time to focus on anti-imperialist movement globally. Michael Manley was respected globally, not respected in Jamaica. Michael Manley's energy was focused on apartheid in South Africa, was focused at black liberation globally. He never spent any of his knowledge and wisdom to develop Jamaica. He spent 99.99999% of his time focusing on an ideology that had nothing at all to do with Jamaica. When Michael Manley pursued democratic socialism, he did so at his own peril. He never consulted with the Jamaican people to see whether or not they would want to participate in an ideological campaign. When he brought Jamaica into the crosshairs of the United States and caused us to be under severe watch by the US, when Cuba had 128 missiles pointing at the United States, our neighbors up north, yeah? And when Michael Manley clad into a bush jacket and made his way to the Kremlin And when he was given the microphone by none other than Fidel Castro, who introduced him, and when he held that mic and said that Jamaica will be the next communist country of the Caribbean, not knowing that the CIA was right up his ass, and he thought that it was business as usual. It was those decisions that caused us to lose our opportunity to be the Singapore of the Caribbean, sir. It is Michael Joshua Manley who robbed this country of our glorious opportunity to become the Singapore of this Caribbean region. I put it at his feet squarely, 100%.
But Chops, we celebrate independence and we fill or full the national stadium, but there is a bit of sadness, Chops, in listening to you and realizing that so many Jamaicans tonight, Chops, are living in circumstances that are less than, it's not good. I mean, there are so many things that still are wrong with Jamaica, and it ought not to be placed at the feet of Andrew Holness. He's not to be blamed for it. Chops, we missed many opportunities along the path. We truly have missed many opportunities.
Neighbor,
yes.
Listen, if you think that the 70s was bad, if you think that what I spoke about just now was bad, don't let me get started on the second phase of the mistake that we made in 1989 when we voted in the People's National Party, again led by Michael Joshua Manley. The same Michael Manley who was clad in a bush jacket, who vowed to follow Fidel Castro to the mountaintop, took off those bush jackets, clad into a blue suit and tie and white shirt, and promised that he would do away with democratic socialism. Yeah? And he was whisked into office by the said United States, who fell out of grace. By the way, a lot of people don't understand this, neighbor.
Tell us.
That the same knife that stick sheep, the same knife that stick goat. A lot of Jamaicans don't know that the same knife that stuck the sheep back in 1979, 1980 is the same knife that stick the goat in 1989. Yeah? Michael Manley, who was removed from power because of his political ideology and him vowing to go to the mountaintop with Fidel Castro, sided with a country that had 128 missiles pointing at the United States and brought us into the crosshairs of the United States at the time. Is the same Michael Manley who, when Edward Seaga decided that he's not going to follow the orders issued to him by the IMF, to lay off Jamaicans and to divest the country's asset to our colonial folks up top. Yeah? Eddie Seaga refused to follow those orders, and as such was isolated by the United States during the 1980s. People don't want to talk about it.
Well,
people don't want to talk about it, but that's what took place. And Michael Manley promised that he would do what Eddie Seaga failed to do in the 1980s. That's why he was whisked into office. Yeah? So he came in 1989. And if you think the 1970s was bad, you check the 1990s. Couple years of it was under Michael Manley, and the rest was by P.J. Patterson and Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller. And if you think the 70s was bad, don't get started with the 1990s. Don't you get started with the 1990s. When they won the election in 1989 and Eddie Seaga warned Michael Manley not to liberalize the dollar without having adequate net international reserve, and he went ahead and do it anyway. We paid the economical price for that because we crashed the economy. Remember, you're dealing with a political party who has absolutely zero understanding of how to run a country, you know. They got it in 1972 and they wrecked it. And when we build it back and they got it again in 1989, what happened? Between 1989 and 2007, anybody can go back into the archives and look what happened in the 1990s. Yeah, when the rest of the world was growing leaps and bounds, countries were recording upwards of 15% growth in the economies of countries all over this world. And Jamaica was pedaling backwards under PJ, Pattison, and the PNP because their policies have never changed. They are wedded to a political dogma. They are not a political movement who feel the pulse of the people and adjust accordingly. No. They are dogmatic. And as such, they operate with blinkers. Their focus is on winning elections. And they've said it in their own words. Bobby Pickersgill said, it is best for us to win, to govern this country. And whatever it takes for us to win, we are prepared to do it. They've said that, and they've acted it out. We lost 44,000 businesses collapse. Entities collapse in the 1990s that were in existence before Jamaica became independent. And all of a sudden they became bad businessmen and collapsed. Yeah, our entire banking system went folded up under the PNP. People unaliving themselves. Families, traditional families who were business people for decades, all of a sudden, a policy of high interest rate over a protracted period of time run them to the wreckage. Yeah, wipe us out. It is in 2023 that we finally got back to post-FinSac era in our country's economy. God. 2023 took us 32 years to get us back. And you are telling me about a political party who wants to run this country. Young people who never got the ballot yet better start listening and learn, because there are those out there who will vote in the next election. They will have a vote. They will have a vote in the next general election, neighbor. And they would have never seen the PNP in office. They would have never seen the PNP govern. But lest you consider flirting with the idea, let me tell you what the history is, and don't take my word for it. Go and do your own research. We're living in a technological era now. There is AI, there is Google, there is every search engine out there will tell you. You go and you type in 1962 when Jamaica got independence, and you look at every single period of governance, whether it is under JLP or PNP, and you do your own assessment. If you can't analyze a document yourself, go put it in an AI and you ask the AI to analyze this document for you. And AI will tell you, even open AI, ChatGPT, anyone will tell you that if you put both political party in context, and if you were to analyze their performance undoubtedly, without any shadow of a doubt, the PNP, by any stretch, should not be given an opportunity to run this country again, because history is never in their favor. They have done it once and they have done it twice. The two greatest depression that this country has ever gone through is under the direction of the People's National Party. That is for young people who probably don't flirt with the history too much. Go and check it yourself. 1972 to 1980 is the worst, one of the worst period. And the second to that, it is a close second, is from 1989 to 2007. PNP has done nothing for this country except to extract the wealth for a few. Yeah? To divert funds from poor Jamaicans, from our institution, from building out infrastructure. They have diverted it to themselves. And that is their mantra. And if they're ever given an opportunity to go again, make no mistake about it. They've done it before, and they will do it again. Thank you, neighbor.
Thank you, sir. Fantastic. Great work from Chops Media. Thank you so much. We're going to pick this back up again.